Dark Souls. The two words scarier than Gan and Dorf. Sick reference, why? The Souls games have never been something I was interested in. I knew of them, and of course I did. I had 2 ears and eyes. How could I avoid that game? Plus, my 2 ears made it easier to hear the words, holy fucking shit, this game is fucking bullshit. It wasn't until a friend of mine, who only kinda liked Dark Souls, not at all obsessed with the game. Right, Ember? Ember bought me Dark Souls 1 Remastered Edition, and I thought, hey, well, why not? It's a game I've heard lots about. It can't be as hard as people say. Oh, Vi, you silly little bitch. Now, I want to preface, I did have help along this journey. My friend Ember helps me in which points to buy, what items to equip, how to skillfully beat the Capra Demon. Nice save, Vi. Thank you, Vi. But all of the fighting and gameplay was my own doing. I died because of me. I won because of me. And I kept wondering, why do people play these types of games? And do I agree with those people who demand that all gamers have to play Dark Souls or some kind of hard game? Now, my first impressions of the game were, this game looks old. And, yeah, it was released the same year as Minecraft, Dead Island, Saints Row the Third, the same year Bin Laden died, the same year Skyrim was released, before releasing again the following year. And again, and again, and I think they did well to say it was 2011. However, I am lucky to be playing the remastered version, which was released in 2018. Also the same year Skyrim was released again. Graphics aside, there's a game under all these pixels, but to be honest, I couldn't escape one thought in my mind while playing it. I kept comparing this game to a different hard game I played, one that I enjoyed and loved despite its difficulties. And then I thought, is it even fair to compare these games? Ew! Fuck! No! Get out of here! Get out of this video! Fuck off! Hollow Knight was my first hard game. A game purposely difficult, built around bosses and becoming the Hollow Knight. No, that isn't the game plot. To anyone who says otherwise is stupid and probably thinks that autism can be cured. There was something so sweet about Hollow Knight. The image was smooth and soft, and yet the bosses were hard as balls. This game is a lovely 2D game that feels like Zelda in the sense of you collect items and power-ups that help you along the journey to beat bosses. There's a clear path you should take, but the game doesn't hold your hand and still says, you can go here if you want, but it might be easier if you go this way first. Collecting the power-ups doesn't necessarily have an order to them. You can get the Mantis Claws early on, or you can be like me in my first playthrough and not even realize they were a power-up until like 3 power-ups later. But that's the fun in the game. There's a story here that isn't spoon-fed, but isn't hidden behind walls and walls of text, or where you might have to do your own research like in Dark Souls. So, I'm going to be comparing the games today. Ask that, should every gamer play a hard game, and should it have to be Dark Souls? Items and power-ups. In Dark Souls, there's a cacophony of items and playstyles. You can be a mage or a barbarian. You can upgrade and focus on stamina and health, or you can say, fuck it, and go balls to the wall strength and mana to kill everything in your path. I owe it to Dark Souls that because of this, I got to live my dreams of swinging my sword and then immediately rolling away like Fortnite kid building as soon as they get sneezed on. When playing Dark Souls at first, I wasn't sure what build I wanted to go, even with some help. I ended up going for using a longsword, so upgrading my strength and dex. Swinging hard and sticking close to the action, that's how I am in the bedroom and the battlefield. I think it's amazing that there is so much option in Dark Souls, but I also think it's the downside. It's the fact that there are so many options that it can be overwhelming. Especially if you're new to the game and franchise and thought, well, people said I should play it, but say I can't have any help because I didn't have any help. It's a lot of choice, and depending on what build you want to go, you might run into an issue that I did, where I put points into an ability that turns out I didn't need. Because I'd never played the game to know what combat style I wanted. I thought I wanted magic, but turns out that wasn't for me. I wasted some points and some items, but then I just changed. Luckily, I was a little early on, but if I hadn't swapped, I may not have even liked the game and not realised why. In Hollow Knight, however, it's kinda the opposite. There aren't really many different styles of fighting when it comes to movesets. Every player will have Mantis Claws, the Crystal Heart, the Shade Cloak, and the main weapon being a nail. You need these items to progress through the game, and they also help you in boss fights. So, you might think that this means you don't have many times where the players feel like, that was me, I chose these items and I did it my way, like you could with Dark Souls. However, in Hollow Knight, we're introduced to something even better, in my opinion. The charms. The charms in this game have different abilities and all use a different number of charm notches that your character has. Start with 3 notches, then you can find and buy more throughout the game for a total of 11 charm notches. There are a total of 45 charms in the game, with 5 being able to either upgrade or be replaced. All these charms do different things, and typically the stronger charm, the more notches it requires. There's even a way of over-charming, which is where you go over the notch amount. However, doing so means you take double damage from enemies. This is a fun way of not only having your own playstyle, but also making you think, what charm should I take for this boss? Do I want to use more spells? If so, I'll take Soul Catcher and Shaman Stone. Or do I want Dash Master and Heavy Blow to dash around and deal more damage with my nail? There isn't a wrong way to do these boss fights or playing the game, and it's all put there nicely. You can even beat the game without even knowing how to upgrade your nail, and then go back and play it again like it was all new and experience these bosses again and again. Speaking of, when it comes to these hard games, bosses are always around every corner, or in some cases, behind the fog walls. Oh god damn it, not again! The bosses in Dark Souls can vary from game to game. In the first game, there are 26 bosses, 14 of these are optional, and 4 being DLC. All of them are so original, use different styles of fighting for you to get used to. And hey! Not you! Get the fuck out of this video. Yeah, both of you, take your little friends and go. Okay, so it's more like 24 bosses, and these two fuckos put on a mustache and went, no, we're different people, I swear. I just want another chance, I want a chance to destroy that chosen one. But I swear, all the other bosses are original and only show up once. I swear. Fuck, okay, the Capra Demon is just a guy you fight near the end. Like, holy shit, if you were pressed for time near the end and wanted more enemies, just copy and paste a few of those fucking ghouls and I wouldn't bat a fucking eye. My favourite bosses to fight, though, were Ornstein, Smough, Artorias, and Priscilla. I like her for the plot. I generally enjoyed Ornstein and Smough's fight because I was paying too much attention to the fight. I forgot to even check my Estus amount and just focus on the move they were doing. I ended up winning the fight my first try. I had a nice time, I felt accomplished. Same with Artorias, but with him, it was a pickup in speed. I was no longer waiting for them to do their move and then, oh, my turn. I was fighting him, and that's what I enjoyed. Priscilla, joking aside, I thought she was fun because she was different. She had a mechanic with her that I had to pay attention to the ground, a nice backstory to her, and now I know, since playing Dark Souls 3, she's a lot like Sister Frieda. Another boss I love. Now, looking at the Hollow Knight bosses, I must admit, most end up feeling either similar, or all can be beat around the same pattern. Charge at you jump over them, you attack, rinse, repeat. Now don't get me wrong, there are some variants in boss fights, off the top of my head being the Dung Defender, Mantis Lords, and Grimm. These bosses aren't the only ones, but these are the bosses that ingrained into my brain for different reasons. The Dung Defender is a dung beetle who buries under the ground and travels you to attack. He's not difficult to beat, but it's a fun fight. After you beat him, he turns out to be a good guy who just thought you were evil. He has other forms too that you can fight, such as the White Defender, a much harder optional version of the Dung Defender, and there's a bit more lore to do with the White Lady. The Mantis Lords are a respectful boss who bow before you fight and bow after you beat them. Once you defeat them, most of the Mantises around the map then bow when they see that you are worthy. Notice I say most. In the Mantis Lord room, you can see there's a 4th seat, this being for the Corrupt Lord. Later, you find the Traitor Lord in the Queen's Garden. The Traitor Lord being a corrupt Mantis Lord. He despised the kingdom and disapproved of his daughter's relationship with the Grey Mourner, a lesbian couple, and thus becomes corrupt to the infection to become stronger, but ultimately loses himself. You can talk to the Grey Mourner and she gives you a delicate flower, asking you to take it where it's needed. This delicate flower being so delicate in fact that if you even get hit once on your journey, it breaks, and you have to go get another, restarting your journey. You can take it to the Traitor Lord's daughter's grave for the Grey Mourner, this rewarding you with a mass shard for extra health. This is a really cute story that is mostly implied to the game itself. Sure, it's a little work to be done, but it's all there for you. However, you only get one delicate flower, so if you choose to give it to someone else, then you cannot get another to give to the Traitor Lord's daughter's grave. I've saved the best for last. Grimm is such an incredible fight, having 4 stages including his dream stage, all with different if not varying moves, and is super quick. He's not someone to be messed with, and only time I'm able to beat him is taking the right charms. Oh, and to fight him, you must have the Grimchild charm equipped, which takes up 3 notches, and then he just takes it away from you at the start, meaning you have less charms for this fight than normal. But this fight might have pissed me off even more if it wasn't for that amazing sound in the back. also known as... Yes, music is an amazing tool. It can shape how we view a fight or even the world around us. It's no different in a Souls game, or any hard as balls games. In Dark Souls there are so many amazing pieces of music, my favourite being Sif and Gwyn. Sif being the angelic song with this huge wolf that used to fight alongside Artorias, now with his master dead is sworn to protect his grave. Gwyn's theme, however, is amazing, being the final fight of the game where we get treated to this oddly beautiful song on piano. It's hauntingly beautiful, and coupled with his style of fighting, you realise he's given up, that he isn't the feared warrior anymore, instead a shell of what once was. It makes you feel sad for him when he's not fucking juggling you! This fight would have no doubt felt entirely different if it had, say, Ludwig's theme playing over it. See, it just doesn't feel right. Now, Grim. I can't even start anywhere else with Hollow Knight. Grim has one of the best theme songs in my opinion. It's fast-paced like him, it's sinister and dark, it sounds slightly carnival because he's the troop master Grim. It's a beautiful and awesome song that goes more into rock as it goes on. An incredible song, paired with an amazing boss like Grim. It isn't just the fights, however. Even going into different places such as the City of Tears, just standing there in the rain, listening to that beautiful woman singing in an angelic voice, looking at the statue of the Hollow Knight. It's no wonder you can see the shop merchant standing there. It's so beautiful. And a theme I have used in my D&D campaign, a breath of fresh air and calms your heart down. For an indie game too, where they didn't have the same budget as Dark Souls, it's truly inspiring. So, we've spoken about items, movesets, bosses, and even music. But let's talk about the gameplay itself. Dark Souls 1 has a feeling in the controls that have to get used to. It feels light, almost like moonwalking or running in water. It's a feeling I hated but had to figure out to play the game. I've now understood it, and it kind of got fixed in Dark Souls 3 and I've been told Bloodborne 2. Another thing that I think can be jarring for new players for the game, something I've been considering is this game suitable for first timers? If every gamer should play these hard games, is Dark Souls the best one? The fighting in the game does feel nice. I mean, slamming down the sword and then rolling away has weight to it. I feel the damage it does, and I do like that. The leveling up is fine. I just put points in a tree and seen the number go higher. Nothing special. Hollow Knight, however, is different. The controls are tight and very responsive. Even the opening of the game, just jumping around, feels nice. There's even an evil trick where you see a small creature, and if you're a fan of 2D platformers, you think, jump on the enemy. But the tick-tick, this is called a tick-tick by the way, has what looks like spikes on its back to give you a little warning of, this isn't that kind of game. Then you begin to learn. Powering up feels great, like you achieve something, you get a little animation each time, and then a little description of the upgrade. Whether it be yourself, spells, or upgrading your nail. It all feels good, and you feel stronger for it. The combat feels, again, tight, and like if you make a mistake, you have no one to blame but yourself for not paying attention to the area and its surroundings. If it seems like I'm being a little biased, I'm trying not to be. I've completed Hollow Knight 5 times, both across PC and my Switch. It's an amazing game that makes you think, I wonder if I could do this better, or this game might be quicker if I do this instead of that. It's a short game too, which means getting started on a new game is so simple, it's just bing bang boom and I've completed it. Oops, fuck, shit, this always happens. Dark Souls has such a slow start and continues to be slow. The fights themselves feel a little slow, albeit powerful. There are faster boss fights, and all this goes to Dark Souls 3 too. I will not be talking about Dark Souls 2 for obvious reasons. Sure, the bosses and the areas in Dark Souls 3 are a lot nicer to look at and can feel a bit more fun, like Sister Frieda, but starting feels overwhelming and slow, especially for your first time with no help. Going in with help, you just have someone to talk about how slow it is too. It isn't a bad game, not at all. I just think it's more of an experience than fun. Now, I don't want this to come off the wrong way. I don't think Dark Souls is bad at all. I just don't think the game is fun. By this, I mean I don't look forward to playing it again, and once the game is beaten, I can put it down and then walk away. I'm not being tempted to return either by gameplay, and I know some people will feel different, and that's the beauty of games in general. I didn't have to play 50 hours in Danganronpa version 3, but I enjoy it. Someone would have been fine with the 20 hours worth of gameplay. With Hollow Knight, like I mentioned earlier, I've completed 5 times across PC and Switch. There's just something about the game that says, play me again. With over 65 hours in the game compared to the 35 in Dark Souls, I'm sure that can tell you what you need to know. My final review, do I think Dark Souls is fun? Kinda. Do I think everyone should play it? Funnily, I think yes. But not in the sense of those people tried to say it. Dark Souls is an experience, and one I think every gamer should try just to have the feel of the game. It's one of those where I can finally say, yeah, I beat Dark Souls with 130 deaths in 35 hours, DLC included. Do I think instead of Dark Souls you should play Hollow Knight? Not necessarily, instead of. But I think Hollow Knight is a much friendlier introduction of hard games. And it's also a very cute game with lots of cute bugs. So, of course, LGBT people enjoy this game. But, to be honest, you could jump in with Sekiro and I'm sure you might even enjoy that and think it's a good, fun game. Or you could even play Cuphead, which is more of a one-and-done boss-style game, but still difficult. Another game that I played and beat and loved. As long as you have fun, it doesn't matter what you play, but I highly recommend playing at least one quote-unquote hard game, just for the experience of it. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about my opinions on Dark Souls and Hollow Knight and hard games in general. Feel free to leave comments down below about why you disagree with me and how you think I'm a fucking idiot for not liking Dark Souls or thinking it's fun. But, like I said in the video, it's my opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion. Let me know what you think of, you have to play these hard games, or you're not a real gamer, or tell me, like, what was your first hard game and what got you into them, or the opposite, what made you shy away from these hard games, and would going on to a more friendlier game like Hollow Knight have helped you? Let me know. I'm very curious to see what others think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.